It's hard to quit addictions because basically human beings are clever. And every time that you feel like you want to relapse and do that thing again, you go through a chain of thought processes which tell you that it's okay for this, and this reason. For example, my thought process is that, oh, I need to do it one more time as like a really good send off, as a real grand finale. And I have gone through that and had a quote unquote grand finale actually hundreds of times. Every relapse, it's that same sort of general web of thoughts of I need a grand finale, I'm young, I should enjoy life and just do this one more time. Or how many times am I really going to get to do this? I could die tomorrow. And you go through those sort of honestly like philosophical inner monologues where you do reason your way into it. And I think that's something that people don't understand is you are in a sense reasoning yourself logically into doing that thing again. It might be happening quick and you might not be monitoring it, so you don't really realize. But if you watch yourself, you'll see that your thoughts, if you have now at least considered the idea of quitting, you're now having an inner battle against the logic behind quitting with the logic of, I need another grand finale, I need, to let off a little bit of stress, or this is actually better for me than not doing it because I can't sleep, or because I'm stressed, or because I have other issues, and so doing this is actually healthy. Even though you start from this place of thinking, I'm definitely going to quit, these thoughts take you to somewhere else. And so the main thing that you can do to quit any addiction is to understand what chains of thoughts and reasonings gets you from, I'm not going to do it again, to just one more time. I deserve this. You need to identify clearly every single train of thought that gets you there, write them down, and study them. So when you do it, you realize, oh no, this isn't a good thought. This isn't me wanting to have fun. This is what addiction is. This thought about the grand finale, this is addiction. This isn't an exception. This isn't a special occasion. This is the thing itself. This is addiction. So that's one side of it. The other side of quitting is to understand that you need to remember very clearly what it's like to relapse. A good memory is the best tool for achieving discipline because you know that when you relapse, there's this deep feeling of guilt, a kind of hollowing out of the soul that completely cancels out the pleasure of the addiction. Now, as time goes on and you haven't relapsed in a while, you see that the memory of that feeling is pretty easy to forget. Now, the pleasure, the joy and the simplicity of relapsing into whatever your addiction is, that you remember well. Your mind just draws you back to that blissful embryonic feeling of I'm just floating in happiness, like I'm not worrying about anything, I'm not thinking anything. You remember that. You don't remember clearly just how bad the relapse feels afterwards. How bad is the hangover? If you can remember how bad the hangover is, you can be free of addiction. And for me, this has been the thing that made the difference, is training myself, forcing myself to remember. And when I do relapse, because now I've done it enough that I can have some presence of mind, I'm like, I need to really sit in this and remember it. Commit to memory this feeling of me laying here, feeling like a loser, feeling like I have no energy, feeling less confident, feeling shame, feeling guilt. Holding close to that feeling, knowing exactly what that feeling is like, so I can refer to it whenever I start to reason my way into my addiction again. Every time I can look back and think, nothing is worth that feeling. Absolutely nothing. And I know that a lot of addictions, really hardcore addictions, they describe it as just the blissful feeling that's beyond anything else in the world. But whatever that bliss is, first of all, it's artificial. And second of all, it's nothing compared to the hollowing out of your soul. And I'm not a religious person, but I think it's fair to speak in those terms, that what you're doing is you're actually eroding a sense of self. You're eroding a natural relationship to the world, because most addictions are something that hijack your pleasure centers. And so you're no longer well set to enjoy how a flower looks, a conversation with a friend. There's this other input, this addictive substance or habit that is like a super stimulus that cancels out everything else and means you can't enjoy just drinking some water after a walk, or walking through the woods, or talking with a friend, or playing a non-stimulating kind of game, or just watching a slow-paced movie. It completely erodes your ability to just be a normal human being on every level. And it means that you probably won't be able to focus to produce something great. Your entire value system will change to favor the superficial, the immediately stimulating, the immediately rewarding. And therefore, you won't be able to appreciate any of the finer things in life. You won't be able to even develop more sophisticated hobbies, more mature relationships. Everything will be oriented towards quick pleasure. And in this way, one addiction kind of kicks out the foundations below your personality, below a healthy lifestyle, below everything. Now, you've probably heard this before, but I say it so that you understand that a lot is at stake when you relapse. And I think one of the biggest things is you reason yourself into saying it's not a big deal, it's worth it, it's fun, I only live once, nothing is going to come of me quitting, like me quitting is not actually going to like elevate my life that much. These are the common strands, all underpinned by a forgetfulness of the absolute pain of letting yourself down again. Remember those two things and sort of audit your own pathways and reasoning chains to doing the bad thing again. And you can be disciplined, and you can, I don't want to say free yourself of addictions, but you can stop yourself from relapsing. That's all.